It's time to mock draft. Not mock draft. It's time to live draft. It's time to best ball draft. It's time to do an Underdog Fantasy promo code Smitty draft. File on in, hit the like button, and let's get to not only talking about some of the news and notes around the NFL right now, but maybe we talk deep sleepers, guys that can win you a best ball draft. And through the entirety of this draft, we will keep tabs on some of those guys as we walk through the draft and maybe pinpoint some of the best ADP grabs late in the draft. The Fantasy Football Show live draft edition begins right now. File on in.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
Live when news breaks, live to do drafts with you. Let me put the promo code on screen. Promo code Underdog Fantasy code Smitty. And let me drop said link into the live chat as well. This link will not only insert code Smitty for you and give you a chance to what? Yeah, get your special pick by entering code Smitty. And also first time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash just for signing up and being a first time depositor. So this is special. Up to $250 bonus cash given out to people. I don't know how they're doing it at random and how many people are getting $250, how many people are not. But you might as well click that link, sign up, do the minimum of $10 and see what you get. Because to me, it sounds like glory. You know what else sounds like glory? A draft. So phone lines are open. We'll keep them open pretty much the entirety of the show tonight. Phone lines are open. Numbers at the top of the screen. And let's get on over to the draft right now. I've dropped a link so far. This is a draft that I'm already doing right now. Let me back out of that. And let's go into, let's see here. Let's go into Underdog, the fantasy app right now. Load it up. If you miss out on this, click the link and get signed up so you don't miss the next time. And sometimes we do multiple drafts, but just click the link now and sign up so you aren't scrambling like you are right now. If you're like, damn, I'm not going to get it in time. I should have clicked the link earlier at 8 p.m. when Smitty told me. This is why you got to do it now. So next time you're ready, don't be caught with your pants down. Okay, draft lobby. Go to the lobby. Go to the Eliminator. $10 Eliminator. Okay, that's the first option on the board. So you're going to be in the home tab, the NFL lobby, the cards, the main menu, and you're going to select the Eliminator. So smash the Eliminator and hit enter now. Hit enter now. I'm going to wait about 8 seconds to allow for the YouTube delay. Eliminator, $10 entry, $1 million in prizes. Hold on, Sebastian. Mute yourself if you don't mind. Okay, enter in. Now I click the green button. We should all be in and be in the same draft. And if you miss it, just draft alongside of us and don't even fret. Let me pull up that draft right this second. And we will get to a drafting. Looks like, did that one fill already? Draft starts in, yeah, that one's filling. Let me load it up. Go to draft. Expand that bad boy. And I can put the draft board on screen right here. There we go. What's up, Sebastian? What can I help you with?
No, I was asking which draft it was.
Eliminator.
Oh, damn, I'm late.
Yeah, I said it like a few times, but that's all right. Draft alongside of us. Code Smitty, Underdog Fantasy, Eliminator draft is kicking off right now. Let me lower this and see if I can show the teams here. What can I do for you, bro? What do you got? What question you got tonight?
Justin Fields. What do we think about his starting situation? Deep sleeper?
Is Justin Fields a sleeper? Absolutely. Where do you get?
He's like at 189 right now.
Where do you get him? Yeah, it depends where you get him. He's definitely a sleeper because he's not a starter by any means. I'm on the clock right here. So far, went McCaffrey, CeeDee Lamb. Time is ticking away. I'm going to go Tyreek Hill here. And I don't have a ton of Tyreek Hill builds, so I'm fine with that. But Fields, you got to draft. I mean, he's a sleeper, but a lot of times I like him as my third quarterback because I definitely do not draft just three quarterbacks. Or two quarterbacks. I don't do that. I draft three quarterbacks most of the time because I think it's very advantageous to have, especially without the bye weeks being listed. Like, there's a huge advantage. But Fields is a great third quarterback. And honestly, I mean, you know, you're rolling the dice with your third quarterback anyway. That's a pretty damn good bet in my opinion. That's my opinion anyway. What else you got?
Kendre Miller.
I love him. Liked him a lot as a rookie. He kind of got injured. Seems similar to Kyron's path in a way. And I think nobody should be overlooking Kendre Miller. You can get him dirt cheap. I think the path to the lineup is not far away. It's a pretty solid path, pretty clear path. It just doesn't seem like it right now, but I'm all about drafting Kendre at the end of my bench.
I'll just hang out.
All right, mute real quick if you don't mind until you have a question. So when Christian McCaffrey, CeeDee Lamb, Tyreek Hill, to me, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Bijan Robinson, Puka Nacua, then Jahmyr Gibbs and Breece Hall, and then now on the clock, Garrett Wilson. Now back-to-backs at 12 and 13, A.J. Brown and Saquon. Marvin Harrison Jr. falling into round 2. He's been going so high. Barkley's climbing, falling. It's tough to know. Marvin Harrison Jr. usually goes in round 1. Nice to see him at 14. Breece Hall and Gibbs sometimes fall to the 12-13 turn. Honestly, I love that. Drake London, better than going at 12-13 turn, but he has been climbing and he's steadily in the 13, 14, 15 area. Guys, don't forget I'll be in Vegas on June 28 and June 29 at the Stadium Swim Circa Las Vegas Casino, and I hope to see you all there. Kyron going to Soul Jack at number 16, and he's got Jahmyr Gibbs and Kyron. Fantastic. There was once in the early offseason where you couldn't dream of having Kyron and Gibbs. That's unbelievable. I love it. Kyron as your second drafted player, cuff to Blake Corum, is gravy. It's gold. It's a home run. It's best top 5 lock you can find at RB. Jonathan Taylor, Bijan. It's a strong double RB approach, similar to the Gibbs and Kyron at the 9 pick. Brandon Ayuk and Amon-Ra St. Brown, Justin Jefferson, Devontae Adams, Jamar Chase, and who's going to this guy right here. Then I'm on the clock, and I got some decisions to make because things are not quite falling. This 3 picks very tough. The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are kind of tough right now, tougher than they were because of the way everything's falling. You're kind of put in a bind here. Debo's available. Nico Collins is available. Stephon Diggs, DJ Moore, Evans, Malik Neighbors. It starts getting really, really light. Quite honestly, given that I've got a wide receiver here, I'm probably going to jump early on. No, I'm going to go Debo. Only because I'm really close to this turn.
Stephon Diggs, DJ Moore,
mute yourself or turn the background music down, bro. Josh Allen just went. CeeDee Lamb, Josh Allen, fantastic scoring, right? But we'll see what happens with this team. Josh Allen, I love. It's tough to take him around 2 when you've got Hurts and Mahomes going in 3 and 5. Is the only thing that I like a little bit better. But I do want my shares of Josh Allen. I'm not ripping on this approach at all. I love it. CeeDee Lamb, Josh Allen, and who does this person take right here? There's one person I do not want to get sniped here. I have a backup plan, but I need this player to fall. Damn it, Josh Jacobs. Son of a bitch. I'm gonna go. I don't love this pick, but I'm gonna go Derrick Henry here. I don't hate it. So I got Tyreek Hill, Deebo Samuel, Derrick Henry. Pretty balanced squad. I like it. Not bad at all. I don't love traditionally going wide receiver. I love going wide receiver, running back, wide receiver. But of course, as you're seeing, best player available dictates my plan of attack 99.9999999% of the time. And when all things are equal, I get to make these fun decisions, go one way or the other. But this feels pretty good. Tyreek Hill, Deebo Samuel, Derrick Henry, pretty solid. Team after mine goes Jamar Chase, Chris Olave, Diggs. Team before mine goes CeeDee Lamb, Josh Allen, Jacobs. The team before that at the one spot goes Christian McCaffrey, Nico, DJ Moore. Not a fan of those two players mixed with McCaffrey from that one spot. I don't like that. I think that team, it's reaching there with both those wide receivers. Jamar Chase, Olave, Diggs. It's okay. I think the Olave and Diggs feel similar to the Nico DJ Moore. I don't like it. It's not worth going wide receiver when you're doing that. Do it for something massive. That doesn't feel like it. Justin Jefferson, Devontae Evans, that feels pretty solid going the triple wides. Amon-Ra, Brandon Ayuk, and Jalen Waddle. It's okay. Bijan, JT, Pittman Jr. Solid. Puka, Achane, Devontae Smith. I like that. Tebow, I like that. That's solid to me. Kyron, Jahmyr Gibbs, Hurts. Honestly, I love it. I understand the wide receivers are going to be a challenge for this guy, but he's got the three best picks he possibly could have made. He's scoring the most amount of points he could possibly score from every single one of those draft selections. So I actually really love that trio. It's just a matter of what's it going to look like for him on the flip side, but I think it could be good. Breece Hall, Drake London, Malik Neighbors. Not a fan of Malik Neighbors in New York. A giant as a rookie in a best ball redraft. Garrett Wilson, Marvin Harrison Jr., Sam Laporta. Love that trio. And before that, A.J. Brown, Saquon, DK, Lamar. I like that stack. That's good. Mahomes stacking up with Garrett Wilson, Marvin, Laporta, Mahomes. Probably one of my favorite teams so far, but what's the running back stable going to look like? He could do really well with it, but that's a pretty solid start. Those are probably the four best players that were on the board no matter what. So you're scoring the most amount of optimal points, in my opinion, with the four that 11 spot team has. It's just a matter of how much of a hit is he going to take at RB. We'll find out. And now Tebow's on the clock. He's also on the phone. You got Puka, you got Achane, you got Devonta Smith. I like what you're doing so far, to be honest with you.
Right on. I like the Smitty approval.
I feel like you're finally letting your hair down.
And I don't have much hair, but hey, yeah. Tell me you like this one.
Whatever you're doing, you're letting it down. Good. Look, hey, I don't know if you're forcing balance, but you have tremendous balance right here, and I like the team a lot. It's the best team I've seen you draft.
Actually, what I'm doing is I'm working on playoff correlation. So I'm looking at my cheat sheet here, trying to line up and get playoff correlation. But what I'm going to ask you, because this is my first ever draft in the Eliminator, is what are the different strategies compared to regular best ball Mania? Where it's pod advancement, and this is more weekly. Is there a different strategy of how you build teams?
Yeah, it's almost like one of those things where it's not the easiest thing to tell somebody in general. You have to kind of work your way through and then try and figure out hold on one second, let me make this pick. Damn, man. ETM was my guy right there. This is tough. I guess I'll go Stroud here. I didn't like reaching a little bit on that, but yeah, so it's a tough thing because you got to win each week, and so there's so much to look at. So from a beginner standpoint, I know you're not a beginner, but for anybody watching, like you got to learn best ball first. Like you're unfortunately gonna fall flat on your face because there's no way you're chewing gum, walking, juggling, and doing all this at the same time. So you just have to learn and navigate ADP, learn how to manipulate, learn how to survive these wide receiver runs, even when you got to figure out a way to draft wide receiver. Damn it, I keep getting sniped left and right. Dalton Kincaid, son of a bitch. I mean, damn it. There's been in this draft specifically, we're drafting with a bunch of snipers. There's like one player available. I guess I'll go. I'm not a huge Mark Andrews guy, but I don't have a ton of shares. Feels like pretty good value here. I'm okay with trying to gamble on Mark Andrews in this. I feel very well rounded. I mean, Tyreek Hill, Debo, Henry, Stroud, Mark Andrews feels very, 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 very solid and balanced. But, yeah, I mean, the Eliminator is so much different than the Best Ball Mania. The weekly winners is so much different than the Eliminator and Best Ball Mania. And, you gotta draft a team that you think can win week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. But at the same time, like, at what point do you say to yourself, I can't account for all these scenarios. Let me just draft the most well-rounded team that can just go out and ball out each week. So like the Eliminator is tough because you're just basically, in my opinion, doing the best player available approach without much of a thought to anything else, because you got to get through everything. It's not like Mania where you get all the way to week 13 or week 14. And
14.
Yeah, and it's like you could have bad weeks, right? You can have a bad week. You can't really have a bad week in Eliminator. So you can't really start planning.
And I would also think that as teams get eliminated and obviously the right combinations of teams continue to stay in, then you run into that whole duplicate, right? Like in other weeks, you may run into teams that have very similar builds to you because those are the remaining.
As you get eliminated, maybe not. I mean, tough to say because like like when you get down to the Best Ball Mania last week, so many of the teams are so different. Like you'll look at like I was in the big board, running for the big board top 10. I was bouncing in and out, and I had I think one of those teams is one I had Kamara, and I had Kamara and CMC on. Might have been the big board one. I forget if it's a super flex big board or whatever, super flex one, and then the big board. But you see like when you see like, let's say you have Pickens and Pickens scores a touchdown, you're expecting like to drop all the way from like 12th place in the championship round, 12th place to like 100, 250, 3,000, like because you're used to that during the season, especially weekly winners. I was at like 34 at one moment in the weekly winners, and one guy scored like a 50-yard touchdown, and I dropped down to like 2,000th place. But when you're in the championship, you're so used to that. You're in the championship week, and like Pickens scores a 50-yard bomb, and you look at your ranking, you haven't moved. You've gotten a little bit lesser away from the person in front of you. But so like it's tough to say what the Eliminator, is going to look like. Because you're right, a lot of the teams that have good players are going to advance, but then again, I don't know that it's going to be such a strong correlation between each team that like all Burrow teams are advancing, because there's so many different variables and variants of high scoring teams. I think they're like, let's say Mahomes, Hurts, and Josh Allen both have like 6 touchdown games. Like I'm sure a majority of every single team that advances is going to have like those combos of guys, but
right.
I'm not focused on anything long term, because you got to get through every week. So you start doing, right. I wouldn't even look at the playoff thing as much in the Eliminator. I certainly, with weekly winners, you're playing for the week, and it's a reset every week. No week has attached to the other week. Week 17 has nothing to do with week 1. Week 5 has nothing to do with week 3. So you definitely want to decide what you want to do. Do you want to just build the best possible team and take a strike at it every single week? Or do you want to build a team made for the Buy-Mageddon week and draft the best team and buy Mageddon and throw all the other weeks to the wind, maybe even win one. You never know. Or do you want to play all the way for week 17, week 16, week 50? You could comb through every single week and find a couple of your favorite high-octane offenses and say, God, week 13, I wonder who's looking at it. And I'm going to draft a team around week 13. So weekly winners is probably the most fun in my opinion. And you know why I like that the most is everybody's got a different strategy. So in my opinion, the people trying to play for every week are fighting less against people trying to do that, because so many people are trying to get cute and play for 1 week, play for the buy Mageddon, play for this and play for that. There's going to be a lot of teams that draft based on that 1 week, and they draft a weaker overall team. And so I have a feeling there's more of a chance to hit that, big winning $20,000 first place prize each individual week, because you're going to be playing by design some weeks, so a lot of bad teams. It's fun, man. Best ball is so entertaining. There's so much going on. There's so many moving parts.
But with the weekly winners, you still draft the team before the season starts, and you don't do any interchange.
Correct.
Right? That's
Correct.
The whole
Correct.
Okay. Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's definitely interesting. This is my first year on Underdog here, so it's interesting getting used to it, and it'll be interesting to see how it all kind of plays out.
I took Zamir White.
Zamir.
Zamir White. So I got Derrick Henry, Zamir. I got Tyreek, Debo. I like it. I like it. It's not my favorite team ever, but there's some teams that stand out more than this one that I've drafted. But I like it. It's very balanced. I feel pretty good with it. Your team, you got Puka, Achane, Devontae Smith, McBride, Reed, Kittle, bully, tight end strategy, which can work. That's fine. I don't know how I feel about doubling up though on bully type stuff in an eliminator, because you could make two arguments. You could say, you're gonna absolutely dominate the tight end position, and if all your other players hit, you're gonna advance over everybody because you're really crushing the tight end position no matter what. But you could also say, give yourself more chances, so you're not having a better chance of having a bad week because you're confined to using. Well, then again, you can flex, but hold on one second. Let me draft. We'll go with Dunze. I don't know. I like a Dunze, but I just don't know how he's gonna eat a ton early on. So that's a pick. Maybe I was running out of time. That was a pick that maybe I in hindsight don't like, because if he takes a while to get going, how's he helping me not get eliminated? So that's like one thing you got to keep in mind as you're drafting, and sometimes you're gonna have moments where you regret kind of in hindsight one of the picks. But if I could go back, I probably would take that one back. I was running out of time, and I just didn't want to get auto drafted on somebody, so I was like, doing say, damn it, I like him, let's go. But
we've all been in that boat before.
I guess at the end of the day, it's still solid. Sebastian, what do you see in this draft you like, don't like?
That Josh Allen team stands out.
Josh Allen. Oh yeah, that was the one over on the far left, the 2 spot. So Lamb, Allen, Jacobs, Pacheco, Kincaid, Zach Moss, JSN. Yeah, not bad. JSN's a pretty crafty wide receiver too, but there's some concerns there, for him to get the wide receiver production he needs. I don't know if I like Zach Moss, but that feels early. Isn't Zach Moss's ADP a little later than that? Maybe it's climbed. I don't know. Maybe it's different in Eliminator, because the ADPs are very different. Eliminator and Best Ball Mania, the ADPs are not the same. Sometimes you're thinking, Zach Moss is in Zach Moss is in the 90s, but maybe not an Eliminator, because maybe people think he's gonna fizzle out and they want him early on. I don't know. It's tough to say what the thinking is driving the ADP, but I I like it. Tebow got Kyler. I like that Kyler. Kyler's great value in the 70s and the 80s. Really good. More so 80s, and you got him in the 80s. That's fantastic. Keon Coleman, good pick there at 82 overall. Ramondre, love that pick. Worthy, Cooper, Mahomes. I like that team from the 11 spot. Garrett Wilson, Marvin Harrison Jr., Laporta, Mahomes. I don't like that you're waiting on. I wouldn't have gone Cooper and Worthy, and then waited on Steve. I would have hit running back right there, because you could have got Rashad White instead of Cooper, and then all of a sudden, not only are you smashing every single pick so far, you're getting balanced. I like it. I just think I would have taken it a different direction, but still a good team. But you definitely.
I can tell you who's getting eliminated.
You what?
The Jahmyr Gibbs team is going to get eliminated.
Jahmyr Gibbs, okay, that's from the 9 spot. Jahmyr Gibbs, Kyron, Hurts, Rashee Rice. Yeah, you can't.
Keenan and T.J. Hawkinson.
Yeah, T.J. Hawkinson T.J. Hawkinson double quarterbacks. That team started off on fire. Gibbs, Kyron Williams, Hurts. And I don't want anybody to look at his team and go, yeah, you can't go running back. That's not why the team's getting eliminated. It's getting eliminated because it didn't draft smartly for the early weeks. On top of that, like you gotta hit your wide receivers if you're gonna go 0 wide receiver through 3 rounds, and then you take your first wide receiver in round 4. You can win that way, especially. But like, why not take? God, he could have had Cooper Kupp. Take Cooper Kupp. Take if this Hurts team from the 9 spot would have taken Cooper Kupp and. Like even Pickens, like even if you reached on Pickens, Cooper Kupp and Pickens added to Hurts, Kyron, and Gibbs would have been phenomenal.
Rashee Rice's ADP is 69.
Yeah, not only that, Rashee Rice is potentially missing at least half the season, if not the entirety of the 2024 season. If he's lucky, and I don't even think it's lucky, I think it's career-ending. If he ends up going all the way, into 2025, then he's going to screw up this year mentally, and then he's going to be suspended physically in 2025, and his career is going to be over. If he takes his lumps now, that's 1 missed year. You could tear your ACL and miss 1 year. You miss 2 years, 1 mentally, because Kamara showed that that's the way it is, and 1 physically, back to back. He's gone. His roster spot's gone. His starting gig, his grip on the starting gig is gone. But anyway, that's more long term. I'm merely, I don't like the way that team went. It should not have gone that way. But maybe this is their first eliminator. If anybody's watching right now and they're like, damn, I didn't really understand eliminator. I mean, it's in the title, but they might not know.
Why would you take Rice 30 picks early though? I don't understand.
I don't know. That's a good question, bro.
That's what did it for me.
Mm-hmm.
What pick you don't understand?
What?
Rashee Rice at 40.
Yeah, Rashee Rice at 40. But hey, but you're citing his Best Ball Mania ADP. Do you know his Eliminator ADP? Might be different.
Yeah, it was 70.
Okay, you checked it? Okay.
Yeah, I checked it right now.
Yeah, I don't know what he's doing. Hawkinson's ADP's tough, bro. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Oh, I can tell you right now, though, Hawkinson is definitely not 64. He's more like in the hundreds.
He's like 115.
See, never old. I don't know if that's got to be one of our guys because he just sniped my Connor Benson stack that I'm trying to do. And but he didn't get a receiver. Like, not helping yourself with receivers. Like blocking me is not helping. It's kind of like the guy at, like I always say, at the Texas Hold'em table that hits when he's not supposed to hit, and he ruins it for everybody at the table, including himself. Like he just
he's not moving onward either.
Yeah, like why would you take Trey Benson when it's going to take him, because he's not starting week 1? Why are you taking Trey Benson? Like, that doesn't make sense. But I got Jonathan Brooks. I mean, you could say, hey, the way I look at this is I've got Henry, Zamir White, and if those guys end up, because their potential, Zamir White's potential to hit a sort of rookie wall of sorts, even though he's not a rookie, he hasn't had the full season, so he could wear down a little in the middle of the year like a rookie would and punch through. Henry, he's older. He could start off on fire and kind of drain down. So I needed to have Jonathan Brooks there, somebody that might be on fire down the stretch. So that's why I did that. But to take Benson without Connor and then like you have to go wide receiver here, it's like I don't know why. You got to be careful on that. But I'm happy with it because at the end of the day with the Eliminator, I'm getting Connors week 1, week 2, week 3, whatever, however long he lasts, and then Jonathan Brooks from that point on. So I'm fine with that combination. But in a way, he could have saved me. Zamir White. What do you guys think of Zamir White? Lots of touches. One of the most used running backs in the final stretch of the year.
Mid. I know. I like Zamir as well. I'm on him this year.
I love Zamir.
I got plenty of shares.
I love Zamir. There's some concern of, I guess you could say, like, just can he hold up? But I mean, it's almost riskier to doubt him than to believe in him just because they didn't go after anybody else. Like, he's the guy. Like, he's one of the biggest winners of the NFL draft to walk out of not having not only the offseason, right? No veteran coming in, but they don't even go after like a Corum or a Braylon Allen or a Jalen Wright or any bigger, medium-sized name running back. So he comes out a huge winner. Zamir White's going to be, and he was such a focal point of that offense. And it's very deceptive to look at Zamir White's stats too, because you're going to look at like some total stats, but at the end of the day, you look at what he was doing, how he was used at the end of the year. Do I like
Bijan team looks pretty filthy too.
Which one?
Bijan team looks pretty raw.
Bijan. Oh, I gotta scroll back up. I'm like looking for him.
Got a triple stack of Colts too.
Bijan, JT, Pittman Jr., Cooper Kupp, Anthony Richardson, Hollywood Brown, Jr. Yeah, it's got some appeal. Jason says, Smitty, do you really like Tyreek over Jamar Chase head to head? I like them about the same. I rotate them, bro. I try and get shares of in that territory, almost like a nice variety and mix, because I don't want to put all my eggs in one basket. I love both of them. Tyreek Hill, like, who's to say Tyreek Hill isn't the number one wide receiver in fantasy football this year? Who's to say Jamar Chase isn't the number one wide receiver? I don't think there's any way to like successfully slam someone's argument down that either one is the number one, number two, number three, number four, number five. Like, you could literally argue, like, you could argue Tyreek Hill is going to drop off and get older, and it's just going to hit him hard. He's going to suffer some sort of injury because, he's that speedy guy, and those hamstrings at some point are going to pop. But I mean, who's to say that's this year? So I don't prescribe to draft him in every single draft. I definitely take my shares of them and move on and pick some other players like Chase. But I also think Chase, being that he hasn't really stayed healthy his entire career, he's also somebody you don't want to put all your eggs in his basket. So rotate it. Rotate it, my friend. I like my squad. Tyreek, Debo, Derrick Henry from the 3 spot. Stroud's a little early, but I honestly didn't know what his ADP was in Eliminator. I didn't look right before we drafted. It seemed like I drafted him right when he was floating at the top of his position, so I couldn't have reached too much. But Mark Andrews is right at the top. Like, I ADP and Eliminator, I didn't reach at all. Zamir, Rome, James Conner, Jonathan Brooks. Feel pretty solid with this team so far. We're approaching my near back-to-backs here. Man. I guess a player I want to grab here is a player I think... I'm just afraid I'm going to get sniped, so I'm going to reach a little bit lower to grab him this time. I'm going to go Jahan Dotson. I think Jaden Daniels absolutely unlocks this guy. I think Jahan Dotson, we were not wrong about him. Sam Howell just didn't throw to him. And he proves with the metrics he was getting open. Like, all the day.
Malik Neighbors hits, I think that Brees Hall team is my favorite one. But only if Neighbors hit.
Yeah, but he can't hit right away. How's he going to hit right away? I mean, he can, but it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to hit. That's really early in an eliminator. Neighbors in the third round in an eliminator is not a real good look. And Tank Dell with his the shooting, like, I'm not saying run away from Tank Dell at all, but we don't know what his injury is. Like, where was he shot at? There's, like, no solid reports on what we're dealing with. All we heard was a report today saying he will be fully recovered. But what do you mean if be fully? Are you speaking to his leg? Did he have just a hiccup in his rehab because of the shooting? So he's got to get back to rehabbing. Like, what does this mean? What does this even mean? I'm gonna go. Look, I gotta protect my quarterback situation. I'm gonna go JD5. If Stroud ever does get banged up or bye week for Eliminator, I'll have JD5 firing on all cylinders by the time. So that's kind of my thinking there with the Eliminator. Travis Rowe, you are live. What is going on, my guy? What do you think of my team so far? Not too bad, right? Tyreek, Debo, Henry, Stroud, Mark Andrews, Zamir, Rome, Adunze, Connor, Jonathan Brooks, Jahan Dotson, JD5. I like it.
Yeah, I like it too. I was actually calling in about Brooks. I know we've talked about him, but I think going off of what we saw Chuba be able to do in that subpar offense last year, I think Brooks could really hit pretty big in a vastly improved offense there. Chuba ended up with 900 rushing yards, 5 rushing touchdowns, and 233 receiving yards on 39 receptions. So,
let me put it this way.
He might,
he's going to be at least a moon man at some point very soon. The fact that
I think he's deserving.
Yeah, the fact that his head coach has even come out. Canales has said that he's they're expecting to use him all over, his versatility. Get him screen passes. That right there tells you, like, when someone says we're going to give him screen passes, he's going to be in there pass protecting. They feel very comfortable, or they expect to be extremely comfortable with him when he's in there on passing downs. Like, that's all I really needed to hear. And given he's by far and away the most superior running back on that roster, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
He's a young kid. He's a young kid, and so that ACL tear is going to be a breeze for him. For the most part, you never know. There's always something that could pop up, but definitely feel like he's 100% at least a moon man. At least a moon man.
Yeah, like you said, he's clearly the best back on that team. Like, granted,
clearly.
I give Tuba a lot of credit. He surprised me last year a little bit with, he put up some pretty good games, and in fantasy he was pretty serviceable for several weeks anyway. But Brooks' talent level was just a whole step above at least.
Yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
So I think your running back room is actually more solid than it might look on paper. People might think at first, especially this is an eliminator. So James Conner at the beginning of the year, I think Jonathan Brooks will be good right from the start. I don't think Chuba's going to hold him back too much.
Yeah, but even if he is, that's my guy that kind of steps in for either Connor or Henry. Maybe both struggle. I got Zamir in there. Hopefully he's.
That's right. You had Henry too. That's right.
Yeah. Henry, Zamir, James Conner, Brooks. My receivers are Tyreek, Debo, and Rome and Dotson. And then my QBs are Mark Andrews is my tight end, and my QBs are Stroud and JD5. So I feel pretty good about it. It's a pretty good squad for the Eliminator. Eliminator's tough. Again, as we were talking about earlier, do you plan deep into the playoffs, or do you say, look, you especially on Eliminator, you worry too much about 1 week and deep in the playoff, how you got to get there. Not only do you have to get there on a 14-week season, you have to get there every single week. So it's there's no hey, my team, I'm drafting it for week 17. and then I got to factor in, can it through 14 weeks be a top 2, top 3? Is this a 2? What is this? Every week, how many people get knocked off on this one?
I think in the beginning it's 2 teams, so it goes from 12 to 10.
Yeah.
And I think there's a 3-week stretch where it's 8 teams, and then only 2 get knocked out or something.
Yeah. So round 1, 12 teams. Round 2, 10. Then 10. Then 10. Then 8.
That's what it was. Yeah.
8,
Okay.
8, 10. Yeah. So it's really hard.
You don't even start getting consolation money until week 7, right? I think is what it is. How it works out. Oh, you're on the clock.
Yeah, it's hard. It's going to be hard to. Let's see here. Hold on a second. It's going to be hard to worry about the end of the season when you got to get through this many weeks. This is tough because, like, right now, I'm feeling like this is not a bad thing to start picking guys that will turn it on later. I'm running the risk of Adunze, Leggett, and Dotson all being like late starters or something, but I think one of them won't be behind, and I really like the idea of. But at this point, I mean, you're drafting guys that are either they're either going to do it or they're not. It's not like this is a very, very mediocre territory for anybody.
Well, I mean, this is, like I said, this is my first Eliminator draft, so kind of as I'm going through it, just some things that you were saying, I think, some of the initial strategies I'm kind of just formulating in my head right now are probably, don't lean on too many rookies early because it is all about starting, and you got to win those first weeks, and some of those deeper rookies aren't going to be performing right away. So I think you build really top heavy and make sure you hit on those top picks. And then in that back 10, that's where you can kind of take some gambles and get some guys that you hope that they'll bring it up later in the season. And hopefully if your team's still around, they can, bring it through.
I went Ricky Parasol here too, because if Debo gets traded or gets injured, Parasol is going to pick up the slack there. So I'm going to back myself up there, but this is a tough territory to like just, you're taking stabs, but at the same time, you need these players immediately,
right? Yeah.
Or you need them to pick up the slack later on down the stretch. There's gonna be two.
God.
There's gonna be two ways to think about it. Like, do you want to have as many stabs in the dark of anybody that can do anything in week 1, 2, 3, 4, or do you want to strategically have late starters, early risers? And you're just going to have the right combination of everything hitting. Tough to say. Like, so many different strategies could win this. And it's going to take a whole lot. I'd say that Eliminator is taking a whole lot more luck into account than anything else. There's a lot of luck involved in this one. Because you gotta stay afloat. But at the same time, staying afloat is not all that hard, right? Because you only have to beat out a small number of teams each week, but
I mean, theoretically, you could be bounced out all of your entries in the first week.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
What's like? I haven't done a ton of eliminating either. So, what's like the outlook on in terms? Like, say you really like your quote unquote starters that you drafted in the beginning that you think are going to be your guys. As the draft goes on, what's your feeling on like cuffing, or like you just took a parasol in case Devo gets hurt? Like, how do you like to do a lot of that, or do you kind of just strategically do it depending on the player?
Yeah, it's kind of how my team feels. Like, I think if my team feels very strong, like for example, my team feels strong, but I feel I got a lot of vulnerability in Henry staying healthy. I feel like I have a lot of vulnerability in James Conner staying healthy, so that's going to make me either strike on the best player available that could be a late. Like, that's the thing I was trying to tell earlier is like you can't really explain all this to one person right away. Like when someone says, "I'm doing my first best ball draft tonight, can you help me win it?" It's like there's so much that goes into it. you have to like understand that like if you have Connor and Henry, in my case here, I can either back up Connor with Benson and feel really secure there, or, and this is what we were having the argument about last night, or I could take Jonathan Brooks and take that in the Eliminator sense, that long-term guarantee. Well, Jonathan Brooks is going to take precedent over any cuffing situation whatsoever.
Right.
Once we get past Jonathan Brooks and we're talking about stabs in the dark, and this is where I was arguing last night until I was blue in the face, is like, I'm not taking a stab in the dark over the Benson Connor cuffing situation here because I'm protected all year long at one of my running back spots, meaning I'm not worried about, and I'll bank on them doing well enough that I'm not worried about some blind dart throw that's very low value trying to outscore Benson or Connor, whoever's being deemed my starter in best ball standards by the automatic, setting your lineup for you system. I'm not going to bank on some shot in the dark player to have the ironically great game the day that Connor and Benson both do horribly. So I'd rather have the security. But with Jonathan Brooks, case by case, that's a smash over any handcuff because he alone could be a top 7 running back, top 5 running back in his own right. So it's just a combination of everything. But I think Jonathan Brooks goes perfect with the Henry and Connor draft selections. And had I maybe had a bunch of late starters already, like let's say I had, trying to think of somebody that's late starter here. I guess you could say, I don't know. Running back, this doesn't make a lot of sense, but like Neighbors as an example, if you drafted Neighbors, he could be a slow start, and you're drafting him in the 3rd round. So you come across a wide receiver that has more early upside like Cooper Kupp. You might take Cooper Kupp because you have Neighbors, because you're going to need that, maybe that support early on. So it's just like so many combinations of different things running through your mind. And truly, I think the only good best ball advice you could ever get is that like it's all case by case. It's 100% case by case. There's no set formula. It's you're juggling 1,000 different variables at once. And for people to act like there's some exact move that you should be doing with your eyes closed. Let's see here. Damn it. I'm going to go Musgrave. I've got Stroud, Daniels. I've got, let me send my team to the screen here, because I think we need to look at it on the board here. Here is the squad thus far, and I'm almost on the clock again, which will add one more player to my squad, but here it is for the moment anyway. This is my team. I've got CJ Stroud. I've got Derrick Henry, Zamir White, James Conner, Jonathan Brooks. Feels really, really strong in the top part of this and the running back room. And then Tyreek Hill, Debo, Adunze, Dotson, Xavier Legette, Parasol, Andrews, and Luke Musgrave. I really like it. That's really strong.
Yeah, that's nice.
Really steady.
And you really at tight end, if you end up taking a 3rd one, you set yourself up where you could take a Likely or Kraft.
Likely's there right now, and I'm tempted to take Likely right now. And this goes back to what we were talking about earlier: handcuffing or taking another stab. Another stab would be Jonnu Smith, Juwan Johnson, Noah Fant, Okonkwo. No, thank you. I'll take the secure stack here that gives me the security I need to bank on the one tight end, whoever it is each week, being good enough that the day that Juwan Johnson pops off, the likelihood that's the 1 week that I don't get one of my tight ends scoring enough to beat him. That's the case by case. That's the case by case scenario. I don't care what anybody tells me. They could say, Smitty, you take Jonnu Smith. Just take the stab at Jones. So you have 3 different potential. I don't care. I'd rather lock down Andrews and Likely, given I have Musgrave, It's just, it guarantees
Right.
me what I need every single week. But again, it's case by case, because that might not be the case if, let's say, like Musgrave was available now or something. Then I would take obviously Musgrave over
Right,
likely
right.
to get that shot of having a separate independent player.
Like in that case, and I think that it's basically what you're saying. Like Jonas Smith, on average, if Musgrave and Andrews are going to outscore him most weeks anyways.
Yeah.
And then if one of them goes down, you saw what Likely did last year in that offense. He's going to probably outscore Smith as well.
Right,
you
right.
know,
So
unless Smith
yeah.
does something crazy we don't
Yeah.
expect. But.
And again, in Eliminator, that's the same concept here with Derrick Henry and Connor, my first and second listed running back here. Jonathan Brooks is my savior. And maybe even my early flex, you know, he could be that good. And then my wide receivers, I feel like I did pretty good here. I mean, Adunze and Dotson having a bad year, that you know, the odds of him popping off, I guess, in week 1 are tough to imagine, but I don't think I would necessarily say either way. He's either gonna bounce back or he's not. I don't know that it's gonna be mid-season. He might bounce back right away, who knows, but I am kind of rolling the dice that I need either Rome, Leggett, or Parasol to do something in week 1. But I got some tricks up my sleeve, hopefully, for some wide receiver support. But yeah, I mean, I would say tight end room, totally on lock. Andrews, Musgrave, and Likely. QB room, I love it. CJ Stroud, Jaden Daniels. JD5 will be going, firing on all cylinders by the time I ever, hopefully never need him to replace Stroud, but there'll be a game or two where he outscores him. And then my running back room is absolutely beautiful. I would say my weakness is that I'm potentially not set up as well as I should be, and it might be my Roma Dunze pick, and that's the one I said I kind of regretted taking, because I don't feel like I'm now protected. I'm future protected with the Dunze, Leggett, and Parasol. But damn, you know, like I might have screwed up on my third wide receiver. Not to mention I don't even have really a great fourth one, but maybe Leggett steps up right away and is fantastic. But
Yeah,
that's what I'm kind of needing. But then again, I only have to beat out.
You never.
Yeah, I don't have to beat out 2 of the bottom. You know what I mean? I just don't have to be second
Right.
to last and last. So maybe it's not a big deal.
And if Keenan Allen gets hurt, you're golden. Not that you hope for that, but he's at that age, and you know he misses a couple games here and there. You know.
Okay, on the clock here. And wide receivers are just so thinned out.
Smitty.
You know what I don't love this pick, but I went Demario Douglas just because I know that he'll be used early, and I was running out of time.
He's gonna get a lot of luck.
Yeah, I feel like out of that entire New England crew, at least I know he's one that's probably, even if he gets replaced, I need somebody doing something early. So I just took a stab at that, but I don't know that I love it long term, but it certainly, I think, helps me immediately.
Smitty, what do you think of quad stacking the Eagles in the first 4 rounds?
The what? Quad stacking the Eagles? I love it.
Yeah. I pulled that off last night.
Yeah, that's good. I have found that, like, overstacking a team usually does not end the way you think it will, but it looks so good, and you imagine it to be unreal, right?
Yeah, there was like Hurts, AJB.
No, I'm gonna time out. Who would I get? McCarthy. That's all right, I guess. Damn it. I didn't want to.
So you're for taking 3 QBs. You think it's a good idea in Eliminator 3 QBs?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, to be honest, there's room to pause and evaluate it. Because I mean, there's arguments to make. There's arguments to make on everything, but I timed out there. I didn't mean to take him, but I think, you know, at the end of the day, you're still subject to an injury or bye week massacre. You know, if anything, I think 3 quarterbacks is more mandatory than ever in Eliminator when you don't know the bye weeks yet.
Yeah, good point.
You know, because then you're really screwed if you take 2 QBs and one gets hurt, and then you're for sure done that next week where there's a bye week for your quarterback. You know, you're done.
So I could potentially be facing that with this lineup because I went Rams and AZ. One, just because it was easy for me to be able to kind of like, hey, they're stacking the NFC North and AFC East teams in with those stacks there. That way I figured I'd at least have some type of weekly correlation every week, but still have 2 concentrated stacks with the LA Rams. And I wanted Mike Wilson, and I would have had a nice little stack with Kyler and McBride.
Yeah, that's tough.
I just got those 2.
Tough to say because, like, out of all the quarterbacks that are very good, like, I love Stafford, but he does feel like a big injury risk, you know, every year that he plays moving forward. But I don't know. Tough to say. I definitely would roll with 3 QBs personally. But, you know, you're going to have a better chance of landing wide receivers or running backs, whatever you're using that extra spot on. I mean, it's a give and a take. When you do an 18-round draft, that's unfortunately there's a cost. You know, there's a pro and a con. It's almost like you're 1 or 2 players short. Well, you are, because the 20-round drafts feel great.
Totally.
20-round drafts. You go three tight ends, 3 quarterbacks. You're just like, who do I grab as an extra wide receiver? Let's do it. Screw it. But 18, it's like you're shorted, and you're like, damn it. Where do I lean the risk? You know, do I lean it toward the RB? Do I lean it toward, like, because you can really screw your RB room too, thinking, okay, I'm only going to draft 4 or 5 RBs, but then you draft and you look at it and you're like, I kind of drafted the wrong 4, you know, because I could kind of feel the odds of this running back room not having 3 of these guys is kind of high. And then what do you do when you got 1 RB left? You're done. So it is.
All right, I'm doing it.
It's
3
a lot.
QBs and I went naked Bryce.
Yeah, there's no problem with that.
It actually helps with my weekly correlation too, actually, for Arizona. So that actually works out.
Triple stacking the Dolphins backfield and eliminated is pretty risky.
I mean, it depends. It depends what you do with your other RB spot. You know what I mean? That's where the strategy comes into play. The walking, chewing gum, and juggling at the same time is like, it really depends on how you're building around that. If you're building around it the right way, and honestly, we could sit here and debate it and come up with a strategy on the fly and be like, wait a minute, what if we drafted this combination of play? Like, that's what's so fun about this, is there's no answer yet. Like, every time you draft, you come up with a different strategy. People that act like they got it all figured out, they don't. Let me see what I need real quick. I got 3. God, I probably need a running back. I only have 4 RBs. Oh, God, is this going to be a mistake? This could be stupid, or it could be amazing. I'm going to take Garendo. I don't know if that was dumb or not.
What are you talking about? I actually had him queued. I had him queued up in my. I was going to take him with the last.
I know, but with my running back stable, though, I'm just wondering because I already have Brooks.
Yeah, you have a lot of
But then again, it's like Zamir, Connor, and Henry. That's fine. Those guys are fine from the beginning, and then so now I got Garendo, and Brooks. I'm okay with that. Like,
You know,
you got 3. Yeah, you got 3 guys.
It's a last pick, and today, hopefully not, but CMC gets injured in like week 3 or 4.
It's an outlier.
Eli Mitchell is going to be injured. He's going to be injured by week 5 or 6.
And
Eli Mitchell cannot stay healthy.
And you kind of need something different to win, like sometimes.
Yeah.
And dare I say, because the final pick in this draft was pick 216, right? What is Garendo's ADP? 208. So he's not getting drafted every time because he's falling in that final round. So that is an outlier. That is a guy that could be the difference maker for you winning the entire thing. If, let's say, CMC went down in week 3 and you were still surviving, you could win the whole thing if he became the workhorse in San Francisco. You know what sucks, though, is when, you know, someone wins and everybody says, okay, this guy drafted wide receiver. That's how you win the Eliminator or whatever. When you look back and you see the guy that got Garendo, CMC went down, and this guy would have pummeled everyone into a million pieces, but he lost in week 2 because of some weird, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the part where I don't like when people define everything as if it's absolute in this thing. You got to have 3 wide receivers. The guy that drafts 3 wide receivers is going to win. The guy that correlates everything, and the guy that stacks Burrow with Chase and doesn't go Hurts with Chase is going to win. It's like, if you could really break down what went wrong for the team that had Hurts and Chase that would have beat the guy that had Burrow and Chase, but he lost in week 2 from something that was kind of out of his control, I think it would change a lot of people's thinking. And again, that's my prediction, is that people start looking at the best ball stacking differently. And my prediction is at least 1 year to 2 years from now, you'll see a very big, heavy trend, I guarantee it, in the content creation space for non-stacking. Why? Because of one, I think that there's so many things that we don't see that could have been, that had nothing to do with the stack is why they got knocked out, some injury or whatever. But then also everybody's stacking. So how do you stand out? How are you building a different team than everybody else? It starts to become drafting against traffic, you know, and that's why best player available can be so good. Is best player available in a sense is your determination, and you got to get to know your own best player available. If you screw up best player available and blame it on best player available, you just might not be good at evaluating talent yet. And that's kind of, you know, part of the learning process. But if you draft best player available, a lot of times what's guiding you is going against traffic. A lot of times it's saying, hey, God, you know, look at these wide receivers that flew off the board in the beginning part of this draft. It was all wide receivers. So drafting against traffic, Jacob shouldn't be at 26 overall. He really is a second round player. Like, Jacobs has that potential. If you don't believe that to be true, then you could say something like Jalen Hurts at 33 deserves to be at the very beginning of round 3, but because of all this orange you see, people are not drafting against traffic. And Soljack from the 9 spot started off phenomenal. One of the best drafts here, period, with the Jahmyr Gibbs, Kyron, and Jalen Hurts. Just because, no offense, Soljack, just if you're in here, just because you screwed up the rest of the draft doesn't mean you didn't start off in brilliant fashion. And everyone's going to say his team looks bad. And that's what a lot of, like, novice will do. They'll look at it and go, oh, yeah, his team looks bad. He shouldn't have drafted running back. And Soljack's going to lose. But is Soljack now a part of the problem for suggesting that running back isn't going to work? Yes. Soljack is now part of the data that suggests that running back won't work. And that's where I think the data is faulty. And that's why I am more about drafting stacks when they matter, but I don't force them for anything. You know, I certainly don't force strategies that other people say have to happen, because I'm showing you that Soljack could have maybe won the whole Eliminator if he just drafted right, because he's such an amazing start.
It was, I don't know. He went blind or something after Jalen Hurts' pick.
Yeah. It's like his wife grabbed him. His wife grabbed him by the balls in the middle of the 4th round. What?
What if Rashi gets suspended the first week of this season? Unlikely, but what if it happens?
I think he was drafting well, and then his wife came in and said, "Take care of the kids," and he just left and he started auto drafting because he was on fire. It's like a whole different person. Rashee Rice, Keenan Allen.
But I'll tell you, I think out of all of his picks, the T.J. Hawkinson one in the 6th round just blows the mind. I think the Rashee Rice one was worse.
Matt Glore with the super chat. I'm sorry, Matt. Matt says 12-team 1 QB start 8. Trade 1.7 and 1.9 for 1.4. Okay, my initial reaction is hell yeah. However, I have seen Jonathan Brooks and Trey Benson fall to 1-7 and 1-9. And at the end of the day, if you're telling me that in a 1QB, the top 3 wide receivers go, and then you're drafting like Bowers or whoever, like at the end of the day, I'm going to look back and say, damn it, give me Jonathan Brooks and Trey Benson. I just can't guarantee they'll both fall in your particular draft. On the surface, I love the 1-4, but I guess you got to ask yourself, Matt, look at a lot of ADP data too. Tough to say. I feel like Benson's getting so overlooked. I've seen Benson in a 1QB fall all the way to the 1.112 in a community that's got nothing but my followers in it. It's one of our dynasty follower drafts we started like 3 years ago. And when I first started the channel, no, maybe like 5 years ago, when I first started the channel, I was doing like, I'd be sitting there drafting and we're like, let's turn this mock draft into a dynasty league. Who's down? Because we'd all be pumped about our teams. And so, the channel was new. I did it too many times. We started like 7 leagues like that. And I'm like, what am I doing? I got 7 leagues I got to manage now. So I haven't created any more since, and they've kind of fallen apart. Believe it or not, it's hard to keep a league together, even one that has the followers in this channel. People get mad and dynasty leagues crumble. That's why I say draft for the now more than the future, because and I'm not saying this arrogantly really, but you would think, and most people watching would die to get in a dynasty league with your boy, because you're watching this channel and you love to be, everyone always wants to be in a league, and I don't understand it because I'm just a human being to myself. But like, I get that's appealing. Like, hey, I want to be in a league with Smitty, and we can't keep 12 guys in it. Every single year we're replacing somebody in every single one of these leagues, except for maybe one of them. It happens every once in a while, but in 2 or 3 of these minimum out of the 4, I think there's 4 left out of the 7. 3 of them crumbled because people kept quitting. It was crazy. You'd think people would want to stay in the league, but they get either upset about something or they ruin their team and they just bail. And so what I was saying was, in a community of my followers from this channel, viewers of this show, Benson just fell to 1.12. So I don't know, man. Does anybody have a thought on this? My initial reaction before I saw all the drafts that I've seen lately would have been take the 1.4 and take that early pick and go and ride, young man, ride into the wind. But what if he gets Benson and Jonathan Brooks? Can he in a 1QB? I mean, why are they falling? Brooks has got to go in the top 6, right, in a 1QB? Why is he not? He does sometimes, but did anybody have a recent draft? They can tell me where Brooks went and Benson went in their recent draft. Matt, you still here? Oh, Matt is here.
So what's he looking at then? If he's 1-4, he gets obviously one of the elite guys. And at 2-4, what do you think? He's getting one of like the second or third tier receivers.
I mean, like Corley or McConkey, or maybe Sinnott. He could get Sinnott there. I've seen Penix Jr. fall there. So, like, one of those players is really good.
I think we're going to see McConkey start going higher than he should, in my opinion. People are in love with him.
Where's Roman Wilson going?
I would say like the turn into the top of the second. But it's tough to know, man. Some drafts are just happening. The data is kind of all over the map. I don't think. And like I said, you see Benson go 1.12 in a league full of my people, and then I see him go at 7 in a league that's not full of, like, I don't know. The data is crazy. Anything special for the Mars draft? We're gonna draft that sucker live. Draft the Moon Man draft live. So absolutely. We'll probably do it a little earlier than like August, but I don't know. We'll have to figure it out. I gotta wait till we get back from Vegas, so it'll be sometime in June or maybe early August. And I might organize a monster. I don't know if it's gonna be maybe a 48 team or more draft. And there'll be multiple copies of every player in the player pool to account for it equaling a 12-team league. So, example, you do a 24-team draft, there's 2 copies of every player in the player pool. So the drop-down menu, you'll only see one Barkley, and you can only draft one Barkley. You can never trade for a second Barkley. But when Barkley gets drafted, everybody but that Barkley owner of the 24 teams will still see Barkley in the drop-down. And then once the second Barkley gets taken, then Barkley vanishes from the player pool. But you can never trade for the same player twice.
I like that.
Yeah, so it's either going to be 24, 36, 48. Last time we did, what was it, 96 teams? So there's 8 copies of every player in the player pool. And it felt like a... So basically it could be 12 or 8 straight... 8 straight McCaffreys. And then it could be, 8 straight Lambs. And it took forever to do the draft, so I might dumb it down to 36 teams or 48, but hang tight on the news on that one and how to get in and everything.
Can you create contests on Underdog?
Yeah, we do that all the time. I drop links all the time. And
you should do like a,
yeah, we will.
Can you do like a season long one?
Yep.
Like,
yep.
Hey, we draft now and it goes to the whole season.
Yep.
Like
we did 2 of them last year.
Really?
So
I'll
yeah.
be looking for that then.
Yeah, we'll do that. I probably won't. I don't know. Last time we did like a accumulation of them, where I think there was like 28 of them, and it was really difficult to tabulate it. So what we'll probably do is I'll announce a date that we're going to jump into one. I'll drop the link in the live stream, or we'll do something, I don't know, maybe there might be some sort of like, I thought about like a Saturn card that will get you into like these drafts or something, but I don't know. Part of me doesn't want to do that too. Part of me wants to just make it random. So I might drop the link in a live chat in the draft, and then Underdog I'll be able to rename that. Everybody can rename it. If I rename the draft in my app, like if you hit the info button, like if you're inside where it shows all the projections right now for all the drafts, the teams that we just did, if you hit the info button, you can rename any draft. You just click the little pencil and you could rename it. Like,
are you kidding me?
Yeah, it's so easy to do that so that you understand what team's what. Because later on you won't be able to find it. You won't be able to find it. If you
That's
like
always been. Oh wow!
I do those all of them.
Yeah, if you love a team, keep Eliminator in it though, so you know what kind of draft it is or whatever. It should actually tell you when you click on. But put Eliminator and put a bunch of poop emojis if you hate the team or something like that, or if you love it, you can just emoji it up. I use emojis to kind of indicate which. And then later on, I think I did my all KC Chief team, and I put like fire trucks or something in it, and so then I knew how to find it later. But what I'll do is I'll identify it. Everybody else can identify it their own way, and then that's the league you'll follow, and then the winner will get something. So we can do that several times. All right, boys. I'm out of here. Anything final? Anybody wants to drop anything? Question real quick. Thanks for the question, Matt. At the end of the day, what do you guys say real quickly? Yes or no? Take the 1.7 and 1.9, or do you want the 1.4 or 2.4? I guess I'd say don't leave it to chance. Get the 1.4 and grab the running back you want, unless you want Bowers. And who the hell knows, man? Maybe like one of the wide receivers doesn't go. You never know.
1.7, 1.9. Someone's going to slip and you can make a move. I mean, you got
maybe. I don't know.
4 months to trade.
I'd take the 1.4.
Me too. I think
the elite guy.
1.9 and 1.4 are not so far apart that you can't be like, okay, what if I get? I mean, what if you just?
Well, what if you got a Brooks and a Roman Wilson, the 107, 109?
I'd rather have Brooks and Benson. But I'd rather have.
I just like what you get at the 104.
Yeah.
More.
And I'm not afraid to take Brooks or Benson at 4 either. I really am not. I could care less. Would I try and move down? Yeah, but then again, you don't know what's going to happen between, especially if you're drafted. If your draft is tomorrow, nothing should happen. But like if your draft is like a month from now, you don't know what can happen. Canales came out and said that, you know, how much he loved Jonathan Brooks today. You don't know what that's going to do with his ADP a day, 2-3 days from now. You know, that kind of stuff can resonate quick and echo through the fantasy football echo chambers. And then all of a sudden, Brooks, you know, he could come out and say Brooks is going to score double-digit touchdowns. And holy shit, that guy's going 4 overall all of a sudden. So, like, I don't know. I'd rather just take the for sure 104. Plus, maybe you can move the 104 in a future first and the 2.4 for the 1.1 and get Marvin Harrison Jr. Then it's boom! You're not going to get that with the 1.7 and 1.9. No one cares.
Did you see the? Maybe you read it already. Did you see the membership message from Michael?
I did not. Let me see. Thank you, Matt, for the super chat, by the way. Michael says, just want to say thank you for the graveyard shows. Thank you, Michael. Appreciate you for appreciating me. So the appreciation's all on this side of the fence, pal. Appreciate you. All right, boys. We'll see you later. Travis, thanks for moderating. Thank you for calling in, Tebow. Yep. And Sebastian. We'll see you later. Good drafts. Good draft, Tebow. I like your draft. You did good. Very balanced. Najee is really solid. Spears is solid. Blake Corum, Stafford, Roman. Well, I like your team. It's a really, really good squad.
Hey, who knows? Najee may even be a Cowboy before you know it.
Well, not if you watch today's show, but yeah.
No, I know. I'm just joking.
I mean, according to ESPN, it's fake news, but I don't know. I mean, like, but you never know. You never know.
Isn't ESPN and the NFL Network really controlled by the NFL anyway? So maybe that's why they put it out there. Mm-hmm. Squash it. We don't want them out there knowing about that.
Yeah, I think the likelihood of a trade after the NFL draft. Yeah, maybe like injury ignites something, but after the NFL draft is like it goes down to like this small chance of anything happening, just because the trade partners are gone. All the trade partners are eliminated by process of drafting rookies and filling their wide receiver rooms. Like the Steelers are no longer, as the report suggested a little while ago, no longer interested in adding any big name wide receivers. I think that's what the report said. Let me read it word for word here. It said Steelers are not expected to add any other notable names at wide receiver, according to this unnamed source. All right, I'll see you later.
Always a name. Right now, take care.
Later, Sebastian. Okay, I'm out of here. Appreciate everybody watching this graveyard stream. Graveyard.
You're watching a
graveyard stream.
A graveyard stream, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate you all. I'll see you all tomorrow. Probably be live at least one time before the 8 p.m. show on some breaking news or something. Hit that like button on the way out the door. Appreciate you. And we got to get back to Dynasty shows. I wanted to do one tonight. I'll try and do one tomorrow in the daytime, if not a video drop, like a premiere. And then the extra main channel, this channel right here, live stream on top of the 8 p.m. show. So like 3 shows, I'm hoping minimum. 1 Dynasty, could be a live stream. 1 main channel, midday live stream, and then 8 p.m. live stream. And then also probably graveyard stream. So maybe 4 total streams. See you later. Oh, Travis, by the way, I'm pretty sure the Moon Man is going to have, I thought about it, and I'm not saying I don't love Baker, but I think Baker's going to move to the midseason monster list instead of the Mars Men, just because it's going to be a late blossoming, and it makes sense for the midseason monster list. So I think the way it's going to look is something along the lines of this. Baker goes over to the midseason monsters, which is still a very respectable list. These are basically moon men, potential moon men, but midseason or not in week 1 as much as later. Garendo, Sinnott. Hollywood's a weird one on this because like he wasn't a Moon Man, but he was like I think the first one on this list because we didn't want to put him on the Moon Man list, but we're like we gotta recognize him somewhere with all this Rashee Rice news, and he's never left. He's just kind of stayed here. He's kind of like the unwelcome guest that doesn't really fit the bill because he could do it right from the start. But maybe this is a sign that he starts off slow and then tears it up because I think the other thinking too is Rashee Rice could get suspended. Like, you know, what if this drags into the season, then he gets suspended? Anyway, Hollywood's here. Spears, total midseason monster. Adunze, gonna start probably slow. Corley probably starts slower than he finishes. Garendo, again, not wishing injury upon CMC, but if CMC goes down, smash. Sinnott, like Laporta, I think he comes on and strong and starts to turn into a monster. Penix Jr., this is a good-looking midseason monster list. So that does leave the Moon Man list.
The Moon Man.
Back to
in outer space.
And Garendo's not on it. He's just trying to get on it.
Space Monsters.
Garendo's just saying, "Hey, let me on the Moon Man list," and we're thinking about it. He's on the midseason monster list, so Garendo's getting a little greedy, but he's trying to get on the Moon Man list. He is. He's trying with all of his might.
Dropping loads in outer space.
I don't know. To me, this feels like this feels like the right move. And Travis says, oh, "That's all right. It's just another chip on Javon Baker's shoulder." Javon Baker's getting another chip on his shoulder. But it makes sense, though, right? Like, he's probably not kicking off week 1 with the volume we want him to get. He's going to earn the spot. So it makes sense. But Coleman, I think, is going to be a beast for the most part all year. Sick Nasty says he's about to add Smitty to his tattoo. Yeah. He's not going to be happy if he hears that I bumped him to the... It's not bumping him off the list. It's just kind of graduating him down slightly. But Zamir White is on the Moon Man list. He ain't going anywhere. He's been the only one like sitting here for a while. Coleman was added. Zamir. This is like a weird, long-term Moon Man. He's a midseason monster, but I don't want to remove him from the Moon Man list. And so I put him over on the Moon as like a reminder that it's long-term. And long-term meaning like even not only for the future years, but, when he does pop off mid-season monster style, I want him to be on both lists. So this is the way it's looking right now. But I think it's, and Tebow says watch Baker ball out in week 1 now. That's okay. If he does, I'll still be very, very happy and feel very proud that he's sitting here when people are doubting him like crazy. Garendo is so exciting. Garendo's the one guy, he wants to be on this list. Look at him.
Dropping loads in outer space.
He says, let me in. Let me in.
He's on a shuttle to Mars. Mars man.
Yeah, Travis says Garendo's a mid-season monster. Well, that's why he's not on it yet.
Spinning aimlessly in space.
That's why I haven't done it. He's just wanting to be on it. I'm kind of playing on the fun of the, he can't be on it, until he, but yeah, AR5, Benson, Puka, Jonathan Brooks. I think tomorrow, that's all I'm going to say. Tomorrow, let's have a day. Jonathan Brooks style. You guys hear me on that? You guys hear me on that? Am I loud and clear? 141 of you still in here. Some people left thinking the show was over. What a dumb mistake that was. The show's not over until you see the show end. Because the credits could come up and it's a whole nother movie. We've ended the show and the credits have come up and we've gone an extra 2 hours before. I ended the show and went, I think it was an hour and like 50 minutes over. After the credits came up, we did this number right here. And I said, hey, I'll see everybody. And I came back and we went an hour and 55 minutes. You got to be out of your mind to walk away from this show before it ends. You don't know what's in store. You have no clue. You can't walk away. That's ridiculous. It's like walking out of a theater before it even ends. You don't know what's happening at the end of the Marvel movie. Let the credits roll. and then step out. Let's have a day tomorrow. That's all I'm going to say. Let's have a Jonathan Brooks day tomorrow. That's all I'm going to say. Take what you will from that. Define what you want. Make some guesses. Spread some rumors. Tell a friend to get in here and see what's maybe going to happen tomorrow involving a man that's first name starts with a J, last name starts with a B, and his middle name's Fire. Yeah. We'll see you tomorrow on that one. Last night you went 50 minutes longer after you said you were leaving. Yeah, that's right, 50 minutes. That was a minimum. And then this stuff kind of happens, where Russell comes in and drops a super chat when I'm trying to leave. He says, "No, you're not leaving." What if you joined late? Drag that little circle thing all the way to the beginning and just pretend we're live and rewatch it. We need a replay crew team, bro. We need a certain amount of replay Rogers and replay Mafia. So we're counting on you, Russell, in your San Francisco 49er hat. Even though you just heard me talk a lot of good stuff about Grendo and it got you pumped up and excited, it's time to hit that back button, bro, and watch the beginning part of the show. Thank you for your $2 hauler. Appreciate you. And we'll see you tomorrow. All I'm going to say is Jonathan Brooks, don't miss tomorrow's midday show. That's all I'm going to tell you. JB.
You raise me up so I can stand on mountains.
Hey Chuba. Go get Brooks a coffee.
Take a lap. 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 Take a lap.